So this is the part 6 video on Buddha's life. It's a pictorial biography of Sakyamuni Buddha. And now the story continues like this here. Some time later, while the prince was riding in the garden, he saw a monk in a yellow robe. The prince watched the monk attentively, perceiving that his mind was full of peace and happiness. So the prince asked Chandika, "What is the life of this sort of a person like?" Chandika replied, "This is a person who cultivates the way, a person who has left his family and given up his desire in order to seek the way of deliverance from worldly suffering." The prince was very pleased to hear the name Shramana spoken. During the whole day, the prince sat quietly but happily in the garden, his mind captured by the idea of becoming Shramana. Just then someone told the prince that his wife had given birth to a lovely boy, but instead of expressing his joy, the prince was a bit flustered, and he said absent-mindedly, "This ring has hemmed me in. This ring has hemmed me in." It was because the prince spoke in this manner just at this time that the newborn baby was named Rahula, which means a ring or a circle. Since the day of Rahula's birth, those who lived with the prince, Siddhartha, all clearly observed that the prince had changed entirely. He was more solemn than before and more contemplative. King Siddhartha was very worried indeed about his son's condition, and so he tried with his last effort to reawaken his interest by searching the whole country for the most intelligent and beautiful dancing girls. He lodged them permanently in the prince's palace, ordering them to sing beautiful songs and to perform pleasing dances, which he hoped would arouse the prince's pleasure and interest in the things of this world. At first, the prince watched and listened to the dances and songs provided for him in order not to disappoint his father, but in reality, these enchanted songs and dances attracted only a few inattentive glances from the prince, for his mind was concentrated on other things. The prince was thinking of one problem only, that is how to liberate himself and all the people completely from the fearfulness of aging, sickness, and death. Finally, the prince became tired and fell asleep, and so the dancing girls had a chance to rest until the prince had awakened, and then they performed again. The prince awakened after a little while, finding that the dancing girls had all fallen asleep because of fatigue. While sleeping, they exhibited all kinds of ugly attributes, being entirely unaware of the impression that they were making. Some slept like pigs, some opened their mouths, drinking saliva which damaged the makeup on their faces. Some ground their teeth loudly, like angry ghosts. They all appeared to be quite ugly and disgusting. The prince was very surprised to see how the girls he liked so much could be transformed in this manner. This picture of the sleeping girls, once regarded as pretty and lovely by the prince, now appeared to be terribly ugly. It was indeed the most nauseating thing that had ever happened to the prince. Therefore, the prince became determined to shake off all that disturbed his mind and to go out to search for real happiness and to become free from all pain and suffering. Prince Siddhartha rose silently, carefully to avoid waking the girls, quietly left the room and ordered Chandika to get his horse, Kanchaka, ready. While Chandika was getting the horse, Prince Siddhartha felt that he should see his newborn son before he left. So he went to the room of Princess Yashodhara, where he found the princess holding the baby in her arms, sound asleep. The prince thought, if I move her hand, she will certainly wake up. If she wakes up, she will stop me from going. But I must go immediately, and I shall come back to see my son and his mother after I find the ultimate truth. In the silence of the night, Prince Siddhartha left the palace without waking anyone. He left the city riding his understanding horse, Kanchaka. Only Chandaka followed him, and no one hindered them. After riding for a little while, the prince stopped his horse and turned around, taking a final look at the city of Kapilavastu in the pure bright moonlight. But his will to go on was unshaken. Sorry. Having obtained his meal for the day, Siddhartha left Rajagaha, heading toward Pandava Hill, where he ate his food. Since the day that Siddhartha had first begged for food, In the city, the news had spread that Shamana, of distinguished appearance and of incomparably brave and noble demeanor, had arrived. This news also reached the palace. King Bimbisara, knowing of the presence of such Shamana, sent his son to check out the situation. He discovered that this Shamana was the prince of Kapilavastu, the successor to the throne, who had given up everything and become a bhikshu in search of the means to liberate all mankind from the imprisonment of old age, sickness and death. Having this knowledge, King Bimbisara went to Pandava Hill and invited Siddhartha to stay in his capital city, where it would be very convenient for the king to offer him food and all necessities of life. But Siddhartha graciously declined the invitation, saying, "I cannot remain in one place before realizing my goal and aspiration." So King Bimbisara made an agreement with Siddhartha to the effect that when his aspiration of perfect enlightenment was realized, he would come first to the city of Rajagaha to instruct and enlighten King Bimbisara and his people. One day, Siddhartha left Rajagaha to go to the foot of mountain where many hermits and sages dwelt. On the way, he saw dust falling down from the mountain amidst the thunderous sound of animal hoofs. Going closer, he found a large flock of sheep and goats moving along like a bank of clouds. They were being helplessly driven toward the city. At the rear of the flock, a little lamb was traveling, limping along painfully, its leg wounded and bleeding. Siddhartha noticed the little lamb and its mother walking in front of it, constantly looking back in deep concern for her offspring. His heart was filled with pity. So Siddhartha took the lamb with the wounded leg up into his arms, gently fondling it while walking around behind the flock. When he saw the shepherds, he asked, "Where are you driving this herd to? They should normally be driven back in the evening. Why do you drive them back at noontime?" The shepherds replied, "The king is holding a big sacrifice today, and we have been ordered to bring 100 sheep and goats, each to the city at noontime." Siddhartha said, "I'll go with you." He carried the little lamb in his arms all the way to the city. Walking behind the flock of sheep, Siddhartha reached the city. Then he went toward the palace where the sacrifice was being held. The king and a group of priests of the fire-worshipping cult were chanting hymns, while a big fire was burning on the altar. They were about to kill the flock of sheep as a sacrifice, but when the leader of the fire-worshippers raised his sword to sever the head of the first sheep, Siddhartha quickly moved up and stopped him. In a grave and solemn manner, Siddhartha stopped the action of the leader of the fire-worshippers and persuaded the participants to discontinue the ceremony. He said to King Bimbisara, "Your Majesty, don't let these worshippers destroy the lives of these poor animals." Then he pointed out to the worshippers themselves, "Life is inconceivably precious. Those who want to destroy it should realize that once it is destroyed, it can never be recovered." Siddhartha also spoke to people who were standing as witnesses to this event. All living creatures cling to life just like human beings. Why should people exert brutal force upon these friendly animals? The sufferings of birth, old age, sickness, and death will naturally take away their beloved lives. Siddhartha continued, "If human beings expect mercy, they ought to show mercy, for according to the law of cause and effect, those who kill will in turn be killed. In short, if we expect happiness in the future, we must do no harm to any kind of creature whatsoever. But whoever sows the seeds of sorrow and agony will undoubtedly reap the same fruits." The manner in which Siddhartha spoke to the king, the fire worshippers, and the people of Rajagaha was peaceful and elegant and full of compassion, yet at the same time forceful and determined. He completely changed the intention and belief of the king and the fire worshippers. So King Bimbisara again asked Siddhartha to stay in his country to teach the people to be merciful and to protect animals. Siddhartha was deeply grateful to the king for his offer, but since he had not yet attained his goal of complete enlightenment, he once again gracefully declined the invitation and departed. Leaving Rajagaha, Siddhartha journeyed on toward the place where Arada Kalama, the sage, lived. Arada Kalama was one of the best known scholars of that time, who had founded many institutes for learning of all kinds. Siddhartha stayed with Arada Kalama and studied very diligently under him. Through his knowledge and capability, he was favorably compared to his teachers, and he became recognized as a prominent and virtuous disciple of the old sage, a situation which made Arada Halama very happy. Enough for today. But before I conclude, I would like to add certain things, the new words I learned today, and the date to the already known words, and the differences between the similar words, similar to them, I discovered I would like to share them with you.